Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Church Video School channel where we help you grow your church by doing video better. In this video, we're going to talk about a really important mindset issue to help you start maximizing the time and the resources that are in front of you like never before. Okay, so many of you are probably going to be really familiar with the word and concept of stewardship. It's definitely not a word that's used in the English language much anymore, except in the faith setting. Today, I want to argue why we as church leaders don't really understand and apply this principle correctly. The idea of stewardship essentially is that all the resources at our disposal aren't actually ours, they're God's. They belong to Him in the ultimate sense, and He's given them to us to use and to enjoy. The word comes from the old position of steward, which was someone who managed the finances and affairs of a large household on behalf of the owner. The steward controlled the money, the goods, the people, but he couldn't claim ultimate ownership over those assets. I want to dive into a particular parable of Jesus to help us understand why I think we're missing a large part of what stewardship actually means. So the passage is Matthew 25, 14 through 30, which is often called the parable of the talents. Now, for reference as we go through this, a talent is roughly equivalent to about $500,000 in today's currency, give or take. So with that in mind, let's jump into the passage. Verse 14 says, "For," this is Jesus talking, "it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. The one who'd received the 5 talents went at once and traded them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more, but he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money." So we're going to stop reading there, and I'm just going to paraphrase the rest of the passage. Essentially, the master, who is the God character of the story, returns, and each servant comes and presents their earnings. The 2 servants who made a return on the investment are praised, while the one who hid his money is chastised for not even lending it to the bank, where he would have at least received some interest back. Okay, so if we compare this passage's picture of faithful stewardship to what's most commonly taught in churches today, I think there are some major differences. So let's take a look at some of those. First, in many churches today, there is a scarcity mindset that dominates all conversation about money. The first church I worked at was managed in this way. I inherited a youth group that had a 5-figure sum just sitting in the bank, unused for years. Why? Because a scarcity mindset approaches the world from an inherently pessimistic point of view. Lack of resources is viewed as the norm, and so hoarding and protecting resources is viewed as the wisest course of action. Loss avoidance becomes the ruling principle of accounting. What's so interesting to me about this is that in this parable of the talents with the stewards, it's the hoarder, the hider, the one who took no risk, who was berated and judged. The servant who made sure that no matter what, he wouldn't lose any money is the one who's our example of how not to manage money. Have you ever thought about that? When we sit and think through this passage, we should start to realize that stewardship and investing are actually very related concepts. And I'm not talking about stock markets necessarily, but the general idea of putting capital in a position to get a return. For me, in the youth group I led, this meant that I actually used those funds to replace a totally dysfunctional AV system, renovate the room that we met in, and then offset the cost of our camps and retreats. I wanted to make sure that money actually accomplished something, because sitting in the bank, it was doing absolutely nothing. And so I think that's going to be a big paradigm shift for a lot of us, that being a good steward and spending money might actually go hand in hand. I mean, based on this passage, honestly, one of the worst things we can do is we take the resources and opportunities we've been given and just sit on them for fear of failure. God richly rewarded those servants who took his money and doubled it. And that just can't happen if you refuse to take any risk. So that's one key area of stewardship that I think a lot of us are susceptible to, that we see the amount of money going out the door as a measure of our level of stewardship. Spending less money, better stewardship. I don't think that that's true, especially when we start looking at what Jesus actually said. Now, there are other biblical teachings for sure that caution against wasteful spending, so don't take this as a license to go buy whatever's on your wish list just because you say, well, we should just use the money. Wasting money on things that don't get a return and wasting money by not even giving it the opportunity to get a return are, in my opinion, almost the same thing. So here's a practical step you can start taking to help get this mindset shift going. I want you to start taking the word spend out of your vocabulary and replace it with the word invest. Are you spending money on a book or training or gear, or are you investing it? If you're just spending it, then yeah, you're wasting the money. But if you're putting it into something that you should be getting an equal or greater return from, you're not spending it, you're investing it. You don't need to be a Wall Street trader to be investing every day. You just need to change your mindset about how money works. Now, I think there's one more key aspect of stewardship that many of us are missing, even beyond coming to this scarcity mindset of money. And it's this: stewardship applies to way more than just financial resources. Money is definitely a tangible resource that we want to be smart about managing and using for God. But God gives us more than just money to steward. He gives us individual talents. He gives us opportunities. He gives us influence. He gives us power. All of these things need to be managed or stewarded in such a way that they earn a return for God, for what He's put in front of us, for the betterment of other people. However, I think the one area that's actually more valuable than money that often gets totally overlooked is this: time. Time is, if you think about it, actually our most valuable resource. There's always more money, there's more influence, there's more power, there's more opportunity that you can find out there, but there is never more time. Time is a resource that we have no control over the abundance of, and it's honestly always getting smaller as we go through life. I think that we, as people and as church leaders, honestly do a pretty poor job of stewarding our time, and as such, we waste perhaps the greatest gift that God has given us. So, how can we be better stewards of our time? Here's a couple of ways you can put in practice today. Number one, be disciplined. Now, is that simple? Yes. But is it easy? Not at all. Being disciplined with your time is one of the absolute hardest things to do, especially in an era when we have more control over where our time goes than ever before. Lots of us want the flexibility that comes with remote work or less direct supervision and management, but quite honestly, not a lot of us have actually earned that level of freedom. My good friend Jake Goslin, who runs Churchfront, is an incredible example of this. As someone who sees Jake off camera all the time, I can tell you that Jake does not waste a day. He manages his time like it's truly his most precious resource. I know if I call him anytime between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Sunday through Friday, he's going to be at his office working every single time. And you know what? God has blessed his discipline and stewardship of time. Think about this. If you had to give an account for where you spent your time over the last 6 weeks, coronavirus accepted, to your boss or even to God himself, would you be proud handing that over, or would you have a knot in your stomach and be preparing your excuses? If you want to truly be a good steward of your time, you have to be disciplined. Make a plan for your day and work your plan. Being accountable, finding ways to prove to yourself and to others that you're not just wasting your days, is going to be so good for you if you struggle with being disciplined with your time, which is probably everybody watching this video. Don't be offended, don't take it personally. It's just really freaking hard to manage our time appropriately. So that's the first thing. It's pretty straightforward and kind of obvious, honestly. I think the second way we can be better stewards of our time is a little bit less obvious, but honestly, it's just as powerful, and it's this: do not be so zealous to save money that you waste time like time doesn't even matter. Being quote unquote self-taught in anything is pretty highly applauded in our culture. It shows that you're more talented or hardworking or committed than other folks who learn stuff with the help of guides or coaches. But I want to poke a pin in that balloon a little bit and ask the question, is that really the wisest option overall? Take piano or golf, for example, two things I've been learning over the past 3 or 4 years. I haven't paid for any lessons, and I've definitely gotten better. But when I think about all the time that I spent learning at like a quarter of the speed I could have with just a little bit of coaching, I'm not even sure the money I saved makes up for the time I spent toiling away trying to not hit shanks or play the wrong notes. I think it's going to be a massive mindset shift for you and your church to start thinking not just about keeping money in the bank, but asking the question, when we look at the whole picture, when we look at opportunity, time, finances, and influence, are we being the best stewards we possibly can? Are we wasting time a lot of time over and over and over again because we don't want to spend any money to invest in systems or training or assistance that would actually help us save a lot of time. I just think that this mindset shift, first of all, to stop talking about spending money and think about investing it, to start shifting our brains to say, what is money for? It is to get a return for whatever we put it into, to get more out of it than we put back in. And secondly, to stop thinking about not spending money as the ideal situation for being perfect stewards, but instead say, okay, if we think about time and all the other things that make up what God has given us to use, are we being truly good stewards? Or are we so concerned about not losing any capital that we're sitting on stuff that God has been asking us and giving us the authority to actually use for His gain, for our gain, for the gain of other people? Stop devaluing the time that God has given you to work as if it means nothing, and start asking yourself, if I invested a little bit of money into this, could I save this much time because I actually know what I'm doing, or I'm actually getting help from somebody so I can do more important things? So to sum it up, stewardship is so much more than whether or not you spend money. It's approaching life with an investment mindset and doing the best you can to earn a return on everything you've been given authority over: your money, your influence, your position, your opportunities, and your time. Do not let fear of loss or failure cause you to waste what you've been given, and stop talking about spending money and start investing it instead. Now, I'm sure some of you watching this have stories, either good or bad, about church stewardship and finances and all this kind of stuff. So if you do, feel free to share them in the comments below so we can all enjoy them. I'm making new videos at least every week right now, so keep checking back or hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss the latest post. If you want some ideas on how to best invest in video gear, check out the church video gear guide below in the description. It's free and it should help you save a lot of time and money. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.